I shall never forget it as long as I live. Out of the trench, we went over and we crawled. If you stood up, you were dead. And that's haunted me all my life. It was only a scratch, really.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Dispatches from the 1BB. Today we're joined by our old cohort, Jack.
Hello.
And a new cohort, Kevin.
Hello.
So, Kevin, seeing as you're new to the cast, why don't you give us an introduction of who the hell you are?
Who the hell I am? I am the sergeant of the American unit, the 1st New Yorkers. I am one of the new members. I joined the last 3 months.
Yeah.
And I'm also kind of an de facto master at arms coming to guns because I have too many of them, which I don't have enough either. And I build too many, which is also not a bad complaint.
True. And I'm going to say I do love your dedication to the 1st New Yorkers unit that you've been role-playing Tom Cruise in that movie where he leaves Ireland and goes to America.
What? What film's that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the accent is spot on.
I've never heard of this film.
Have you not?
No, what's it called?
I can't remember. It's basically the whole plot of the film is, well, my mother, she died of the consumption, so I'm going across to the new world now. And then he just shows up in America. It's like Eddie Murphy's Coming to America, but with Tom Cruise being.
Oh no!
I think I do remember this because they made a big hullabaloo about Tom Cruise's forced Irish accent in it.
Oh yeah, it was awful.
It's got to be the most despicable Irish accent that's ever been portrayed, and there's been a lot of those.
Don't you want to dance, Mary? Dance with me. And
Far and Away.
Christ.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. I watched it when I was like 9, and I was like, "What the hell is the consumption?" Like that just sounds like a made-up thing.
Why did they get Tom Cruise to do that of all people?
Because he will do fucking anything.
He's a Scientologist. Of course, he's going to do anything.
Has he got
Except
any
for-
Irish heritage though?
No.
No.
But then again, Mel Gibson, who's an Australian, has a church named after him in Galway. Or is it Sligo?
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
to be
apparently
fair,
he paid for the roof to be done.
huh? Well, the thing is as well that people were saying obviously about this is an old Frankie Boyle joke, and they were saying about saying like, oh, Mel Gibson, playing an Australian, playing a Scotsman. He's not Scottish enough to do it. I will look at him now, an alcoholic racist.
Yeah, no, he spent too much time in Scotland, but then again, half that film was filmed in Ireland.
Well, to be fair, Braveheart was actually premiered at my local theatre in Stirling because I'm from Braveheart country, and the theatre is attached to my university, and Mel Gibson attended the premiere at the McRobert Art Centre, where I've done a lot of stage shows.
I love how you call it Braveheart country. Automatically getting fear and loathing sort of feeling about it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there is a lot of drugs and alcoholism where I'm from. I mean, I do my part by contributing to the cultural heritage, but
Do your bit.
Let's not get too in-depth into that now, please. One quick phone call to the guards. Hello?
I phoned the guards once accidentally.
Oh.
My mate Andy got lifted while steaming in Stirling, and I was like, "Oh no, he's been arrested drunk. He called the police lazy bastards because they're like, we're going to let you go, Andy, because you're not, you're not a bad boy sorts. So we're going to, just behave and we'll not arrest you. They're like, oh, you're not arresting me, lazy bastards. I'm like, right, get in the fucking van. So he got lifted, and I was already drunk at this point. So we're like, oh no, we need to go and check because he's been taken through to like Linlithgow jail near Edinburgh because he didn't have any space in Stirling. So I was hanging out with my mate Tamara, who's from Derry, and my mate Nathan, who's from Derry. So I was just like, chatting with them, and because I was used to just Irishmen kicking about, I was like phoned 112, and then it was like just answered, hello Gerd, and I was like, oh fuck, wrong number.
Safe.
How do you misdial that number?
I don't know. I'd been drinking a lot of Tullamore Dew that night.
Oh, well, no. In that case, I can't blame you. I drank half a bottle of it last night myself.
Good man.
I don't think it was that good. The game did not turn out that good.
So now you say that you're sort of the master at arms at the unit, and you build a lot of guns. So the most thing you've built, which you've shown, is your new Maxim gun, your sort of MG 0815, which is a stunning bit of kit.
Mm.
Yes, I've been wanting to build one for ages. I have to give props to 1BB actually for this. I've wanted to build a lot of World War I era weaponry for ages, but I've never had the drive to do it. But after joining 1BB, I'm just like, right, okay. I have a lot of World War II era guns. I do a lot of World War II era stuff. But now I'm going to do World War I. I need guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot available.
No, there isn't. Like, I work in a shop, and I know the new release of nearly every single World War II gun that's coming up because I have it all tabbed, and as soon as I hear about it, I make a phone call to get this quickly. I don't care how much it is, just get the damn gun.
Yeah. I don't care about how much it is. I want pictures of Spider-Man.
But I think that's the biggest problem. I think it's one of the big hurdles that we come across is getting guns.
Like the most common question that we get asked is, A, where do you get your uniforms? And the question second to that is, where do you get your guns?
Yeah.
Which takes us very nicely onto our first topic of era rifles.
I can't come up with a jingle.
That seems copyright free. So yeah, with era rifles, we are limited in what we can use. Obviously, a lot of times in conventional airsoft, the fields are awash with AR-15s, MP5s, and AKs.
Mm-hmm.
6s, Steyrs, L85s. There's a lot of modern crap out there.
The list invariably goes on.
Yeah.
But with World War II airsoft, we get a lot more of selection because we have our MP40s, our MG42s, Mosin Nagants, that kind of thing, Thompsons, M1 Garands. But with World War I airsoft, we are very much limited in what we can use because World War I was for the beginning of it, was a relatively static war and used a lot of infantry rifles. The concept of a general purpose machine gun or a universal machine gun wasn't really pioneered until the start of the Second World War when squads became built around a light machine gun, where these rifle batteries all consisted of men with rifles and the occasional handgun. Even submachine guns didn't start to happen until the tail end of the war, and with only very few manufacturers making an MP18 or, MP28. It leaves us in the lurch with very, very scant selection of rifles. So we each have our own out-of-the-box rifles, but also our own custom rifles. And custom rifles do play a massive role in the arming of World War I airsoft contingents. We often have to either make do and mend or come up with some completely mad shit off our own backs.
Yeah.
Very true.
Because, available at the moment, what have you got? There's the Springfield.
The M1903 Springfield, possibly the Car 98K, a Mosin Nagant, the Arasaka Type 38, but that pretty much limits your playing field to Americans or Brits armed with Pattern 14 Enfields.
Yeah.
Germans, primarily stormtroopers of Kar 98s. Russians with the Mosin. As for the RSAC, it was used by Brits and French and Belgians and
The Russians.
Russian, but it's a very rare one to come across.
Yeah.
But even then, that's the thing. So the 1903 A3 that is used and manufactured by S&T for a spring-powered one and G&G for a gas-powered is actually a World War II model with an aperture sight affixed to the rear as opposed to the leaf sight, which is a little bit halfway down the receiver, just past the breech. And the Kar 98K, which was designed in, I think, 1923, was used by the German Army in the Second World War. The Kar 98 AZ, which was used in the First World War by the Stoßtruppen, is not manufactured, and that leaves us again to do more custom jobs. I mean, there are Lee Enfields that are out there, made by, say, Shoot and Scoop formerly, and there are potentially S&T ones and G&G ones coming out in the future, but a lot of those are the Lee Enfield number 4 model, which is the World War II one again, so that leaves us with a bit of a fucking pickle.
Well, there's an SMLE coming out though, right? So probably in next year or two.
S&T is releasing an SMLE. They should have their first production model released by the end of this year, which means in the European markets by early spring next year, all going well.
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually sooner than I thought. Because last update I heard about the SMLE was that the only image they'd released was like a computer-generated CAD design. Mm-hmm. So that's still pretty impressive in terms of timescales. I'm all right with that.
They released that in January, and then they brought out an update where they've actually added now to their regular catalogue. So it's being produced. It should be out by at least the end of this year, and in European, UK markets about March, May, hopefully, God willing.
Cool. But I mean, sorry, I've sort of derailed a little bit there. But the finer point is that, considering how limited the market is as it stands, how do you go about sorting yourself out or getting sorted with a rifle that you can happily bring along to a World War I game? And the people who are really leading the way with that is people like yourself, Kevin, with the actual ability and knowledge to be able to strip weapons down. And well, I suppose that's my question really, is what is your process in terms of, you want to make you want to make a World War I weapon. Which weapon do you pick out, and then how do you go through that to take it to the final product?
Well, you'll remember this, Jack, because it was actually the first thing you ever messaged me about. I built an SMLE 4 months ago based off, I had a 1903 Springfield laying around. I have 3 of them. So I have one that's currently being converted to the A1, which was used in World War One. I'm waiting for the leaf sight to come in. But I made an SMLE. And I had, for ages, wanted one, and I could never get one. And Shoot and Scoop had them, but every time I went to order one, they were out of stock. And I was like, can't wait, want one now. I'm impatient. And I used parts of Denix to do it. I was looking at it one day and I was thinking to myself, the front sight in that looks like it could fit on my Springfield. And that was step 1, getting that damn thing off. As soon as I got that off, everything just kind of fell into place. I'm still a little bit upset over my stock, but I'll work on it.
With the ring, where the receiver fits the butt?
Yeah, because I don't have the ring on it, and I'm still using the 1903 style rear stock instead of the Enfield one, which has a slight bulge in the bottom of it. I'm working on a way to swap all that out and hopefully get a metal ring onto it. That will be a later project.
That's awesome.
I'm working on that. I will get that done. I'm still working on a label at the moment, so it's going to be more fun.
Yeah, I saw that, man. That's exciting stuff. The thing is that you can churn them out. You have the knowledge to do so, and the tool set to do so as well, I guess. Because I did the least speed.
I have a basic set of tools that do the job, like a sander. I have a good multi-tool, which is brilliant because it cuts everything. But what my main, I think it's one of my main drawbacks. I don't work off plans. I don't have any drawn out plans for doing anything. I just go at it, and I work on it, and I nick away bit by bit over time until I get it right. Which annoys some people because then they ask me if you got the, can you send me the plans for doing this? No, I can't. Drive me in.
Because I based my Lee Speed purely off how you did yours on the VSR. I know that that's really, really simple, but prior to that, I'd made an SMLE from, I think it's a Well MB4405, which I chose purely for the magazine placement. The one thing I took away from that was how small the nose cap was to an SMLE. I don't know why. Yeah. I think I just assumed that they were a lot bigger than they actually are.
Yeah. See, I was going to plan, my original first plan was I was going to take my Denix Enfield that I had sitting around and just drop an SMLE or drop a VSR into it. But when I got around to cutting it into it, I was realizing that's not going to work out the way I think it's going to work out. And it was mainly the barrel, because the barrel on a VSR is a very thick thing.
Yeah.
On a Springfield, it's very small. So the Enfield has to be very small. And I'm like, oh, Christ, no. I couldn't do that. That killed me for like 2 months.
What would you consider to be a World War One rifle custom build? What would you consider to be easy versus difficult for sort of people listening to consider jumping in on?
If you want to do something quick and easy and you wanted it to do for the time being, I would go with like what you did and what I did, the VSR Lee Speed, because literally that is iron sights, put a magazine onto it. You can make a magazine. I made mine out of a block of wood, and to look at it, it looks good because it's copied straight off the Enfield magazine I had. And if you want to do something quick and easy for the British side, I go with that. That's 3 pieces of cutting and 2 screws, and bang, you've got a Lee Speed.
Yeah, true that. I was delightfully surprised how easy it was, considering I get really nervous about such projects. The Lee Speed, for people who don't know, was a commercial hunting rifle at first, or a sporting rifle, I should say, that was manufactured primarily in Birmingham for private purchase. I think there were a few that ended up with the Royal Navy once the Royal Navy sort of had to sacrifice their SMLEs and send them over for use in the infantry. So they were replaced with some sporting rifle, any Lee Metfords that were going, things like that. But again, they were private purchase rifles, and it tended to be used or owned by the upper classes. So they were available publicly. You could go into a shop and buy one in the UK and take it over if needs be. So it's one of those where I don't know, you sort of have to stretch the imagination at least a little bit, but it's not a far-fetched story for why one would be in France. I know that when I looked into it, I found a link on, it was a museum in Australia. Apologies, I don't remember the name of the museum, but they had one, a Lee Speed, that they had collected from a battlefield in France that they had on display. So it definitely did happen, but it's certainly not as common as SML.
I know there's Lee Speed in the barracks up in Dublin, Collins Barracks, which is now the National History Museum. There is a Lee Speed there in their. It's not in their World War One exhibit. It's in their Rising exhibit. As an example, okay. One that was used by volunteers.
Yeah. So again, something that could have been bought as a private purchase during wartime. They were available, and they were still in 303, right? I think.
Yeah, they were British. It was BSA made, so they were all 303 rifles.
Yeah.
Because BSA also made the SMLE and the Lee Metford. They carried on making rifles, I think, well into the 50s.
Right. And the Lee Metford as well is, I mean, I've not attempted one myself, but just from looking at reference images, I imagine that that's probably doable. The main difference between the two when it comes to building a custom rifle from a stock rifle you can buy easily on websites or from a shop is the stock or the grip. And I think that's why the Lee Speed's easier, because it had that sporting grip that's now common in modern day rifles, rather than the type of stock you see on a SMLE or a Springfield.
Or a 98.
Yeah. Yeah. So good shout. Lee Speed's definitely a really, really simple one to get into.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to do a British load. I mean, like, I think doing Germans, you can get a load of Car 98 and pass them off as a German infantry weapon from World War One.
Yeah,
But
'cause, I mean, the Car 98, the only difference between the Car 98 and the Gewehr 98 was A, the length, B, the Lang Vizier sight versus your standard leaf sight, and also the straight bolt over a turn bolt.
Right.
And just where the sling mounts are. Like, so the Gewehr 98 is just the rifle model 98, but the Kar 98 Kurz is the Karabiner 98 short. So it was just basically a shortened version of the Gewehr 98. Because the Gewehr 98s were big boys.
Massive rifles, and then you stick a 15-inch bayonet on the end of that. How the hell are you meant to go through a trench?
Yeah, the Zeitengewehr. There's a lot of photos of German soldiers of the First World War, and the bayonet comes up past the spike of their pickelhaube.
Really?
Yeah.
You see, I am the first to admit that when it comes to German stuff or Central Powers stuff, I'm not in the know whatsoever. I certainly don't pretend to. So whenever you guys are talking about German equipment or German weaponry, I'm always just in awe of it. Still learning, still a noob when it comes to that stuff.
Well, the good thing about German equipment based against British equipment is that pattern 08 webbing is so hard to put on and get right straight away, whereas German equipment, you put a belt on and then you just clip a couple of things into the belt and that's you.
Oh, yeah.
It's so simple.
True that. And then I can't comment on any of like French or Belgian equipment. I've only seen reference images and then never really studied it.
French and Belgium much same as the Germans, really. Just
it's the left belt with pouches.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that. I'm actually kind of surprised in terms of shoulder straps or that style, is that quite niche then in other nations?
Not really. It's quite common, to be honest. I mean, the British moved away from the pattern 08 web, or moved to the pattern 08 webbing because it was cheaper to produce, didn't require leather, and the canvas meant it was more adjustable and more modular, and didn't rot in the field like leather does. But also to put on a belt, like yourself with World War II German kit, you put on your belt, and then you click your Y straps to the belt, and then you put your tornister on, or you put your tornister and click that to your belt instead of using Y straps. Like but with the pattern 08 webbing, because it's all like lashed together, it's you've got to kind of put the whole thing on as a oneer.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a pain in the arse to put on. Yeah. So it's a pain in the arse to put on because you've had to attach the whole thing together before you put it on. Whereas with German kit, you just kind of can put it on one bit at a time, so it's a lot easier to get on and off quickly.
You see, I think I prefer having it as one piece though. And as you said, my only experience with what you're talking about is the World War II stuff.
The World War II stuff is more or less the same as the World War I, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah, the only the magazine pouch is bigger. Like, I have a full set of pattern 37 weapon, and I had to go through like 2 different guides on how to put it on and watch videos on YouTube and how to put it all together because I was lost. And in the first 5 minutes of looking at the stuff in a heap on the floor, I was like, no.
Do you know what I really struggled with that with the Pattern 58 British stuff? In terms of online references, there wasn't a lot out there. I was getting very annoyed about it, and until I found like someone had scanned in a manual of how to fit the large pack and stuff before I finally got it. There was a lot of this is how you attach the large pack, the field pack, to your 58 pattern webbing, and then it would be a photo of the back of the webbing, so you can't see any of the straps. That actually attaches the fucker. So I just got really fucking angry.
I'm actually quite happy with my pattern 50. I have a full set of pattern 58 webbing, and it's probably the easiest stuff I've ever had to put together. Apart from my American kit.
I love the pattern 58 stuff.
The German kit really is just, here's your belt. Okay, your magazine pouches are on your belt. Grant, where do I put my bag? You clip it on here and here on your belt. There you go. Canteen goes here. You don't like
don't
it.
get me wrong. When I finally saw an actual decent image of how to attach the large pack to the 58 pattern, I was even more annoyed at how simple it was, and it took me that long to find an image that actually showed it clipped on.
There's also you can't get it off unless you take your whole webbing off.
Yeah, well, that is the biggest problem with the 58 stuff. But
so if I need to get access to my tornister whilst I'm wearing my full marching order, all I need to do is take the tornister off.
Yeah, true. Very true.
It's the same with the American haversacks.
Oh, the American haversacks look so complex.
No, they are not. They are purely a simple thing. It is 3 straps that puts the thing together, and then it's 2 buckle straps that come over and clip onto the front of your webbing kit. It is brilliant. I absolutely love it.
I agree.
Like packing them, like the folding up of stuff, and like where the shovel sits, and I don't know. It's always just looked like a pain in the cock.
It's the same as anything, though. It becomes second nature eventually.
Yeah.
I've had my kit for a year, and it's beautifully simple. I've got 2 kits. I've got my haversack World War One kit, and then I've got the musette bag World War Two kit. And the musette bag kit is actually it's more difficult, even though it's just one bag.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it has to go onto your suspenders, which then have to go onto your kit. But because you're using a pistol belt, if you want to put on, I have Thompson magazine pouches on it now. I want to put shotgun magazine pouches onto it. I have to take apart the whole thing to do it. It is a pain in the ass.
Right. See, I've only had experience with a haversack because I've got one, and I have to say, I was of the same opinion as you, Matthew, before it arrived. I thought it was going to be a pain in the ass, but having got it and doing what you always do when you get a new piece of military kit is just laying it flat on the ground, taking it all apart, and staring at it for half an hour. Pleasantly surprised.
And then waiting it around the house for 3 days.
Whenever you leave the house, it just magically appears in your back. What's this for? I don't know, but it's here.
Many times that I've found myself after I got my Swiss tornister that I'd be like, walking down to Tesco's wearing the tornister with a blanket roll on it, being like, I'm just gonna get my messages. Then I'm gonna do like 5 different buckles to get into it. And I'm like, I'm really sorry. And to the checkout lady, she's like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, just get my milk.
I'm just trying to pack it up here. Give me a second.
When my tanker helmet arrived the other day, and I tried it on, and then I was in the 1BB group chat for ages. It was like half an hour before I realized I was still wearing the fucking, like, I turned around and...
You knew the full time. You knew the full time. You just were like, I'm keeping it on.
I turned around and I saw my missus sat on the sofa opposite me. I was like, I've been sat here the whole time wearing this helmet. That looks like I have like really special needs.
I'm gonna wear it for the insurance liability.
We celebrated my missus's birthday last night, and we had a video call with a group of friends. And I don't know, I think for about half an hour I sat there wearing my German Stahlhelm helmet, because it somehow magically appeared from across the room that's on a shelf like that. My missus can't even reach onto my head.
Wait, it was your missus' birthday yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, belated birthday wishes. I feel bad now. I'm really
I'm allergic to birthdays. Absolutely sloshed. It was brilliant. I drank 2 bottles of whiskey to myself.
Oh, well, we'll dedicate this episode to a birthday then, I guess.
I should love that.
Christ, we should probably go back on topic, right?
Yes, guns.
Go, Matthew. This is your job. You're the Segway king.
Okay. So, obviously, with the fact that you live in Ireland, post Brexit, we are looking at quite a difficult thing to sort of ship airsoft guns from Ireland to the UK without having to go through customs. Now, the thing is about World War I Airsoft is that it's full of customs. So custom rifles, custom machine guns, and custom loadouts. So we have obviously people in our team, like Dan, for example, who have made a custom Lebel, who has made a custom M38 Machete Carcano, which I now proudly own. And we have yourself who's built a Lee Speed. And it doesn't even warrant mentioning how many custom guns you've built, because I could be here all day, Kevin. So with custom guns, I find personally that because I live in a flat, I don't have much workspace, I don't have many tools, and I'm a lazy cunt, I really sort of struggle to make custom things. So for people who are looking to embark upon a journey of crying and potentially breaking a £300 gun that you've just bought, how would you start the custom transition?
Oh, well, first of all, I'd say about the £300 gun I just bought. I'll see what it is first. I originally owned a Mosin Nagant, and I actually traded it with the other member of the American squad for his
Aye.
1903 because I got a fancy for a second 1903 in my life. I think I got the
Men
short.
only want one thing, and it's fucking disgusting.
You what?
Men literally only want one thing, and it's fucking disgusting. Another 1903.
Another 1903.
Oh well, what 3 1903s, 4 1911s? I'm okay. I got a problem, all right. I'll admit. Oh, take a 1903. I mean, like a 1903. I think in England is about £300. Over here, like I'm in Ireland, I work in an airsoft shop. I know for a fact they're €370 on the bat. But if I was to buy one of those and I was looking to customize it, I'd look at what rifles were out there that I could customize it into. Like I had put up in the group that I was looking for an ideal for it, and someone said to make a Krag rifle.
Oh.
Krag Jorgensen, and I thought, oh yes, I absolutely loved that gun. Couldn't ever use it in World War One because they were phased out well before then.
No, you absolutely could. You absolutely could use it for the World War One.
Yeah, if I built a Norwegian kit and then suddenly appeared like
even for American stuff, because we do, because we can with World War One Airsoft take a little bit more of a liberty. Like I use a Carcano, a 1938 model Carcano carbine in place of a Car 88 commission rifle carbine, because they simply don't exist in airsoft. So we can take a lot more liberties with World War Airsoft because it's not reenactment. But we try to get as accurate as we can, but obviously we have to sometimes take artistic license.
Oh yeah, of course, 100%. Like I know, looking at, let me see, I have a BAR. It's the 1918 A2 version. I know that is the completely wrong version for World War One because the hand grip is completely wrong on it.
Yep.
I could make a new hand grip or modify the one I have. It's solid wood, but at the same time, no, a rifle cost me like £500.
Yeah.
There's a line you have to cross when it comes to modifying an expensive gun. I don't mind taking a 130 bob fucking VSR and doing God knows what to it with a hammer and a hacksaw.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel bad tomorrow. But doing the 1903s, I do feel a bit of slight hesitation when it comes to it because they are an expensive gun. Which is why I have treated them, because it's my first one I ever did. I did it based on a pattern 17 rifle. Because it's the only one I could find that actually has the sights in the back like it has now instead of the in front of the receiver leaf sights. But I've also got a friend that's a 3D printer, and he did all the work on my Maxim gun for the external parts, like my muzzle brake, my feed loader. He's currently printing out the rear ladder sights, the front sights, and the charging handle to go onto the side of it. He did my spoon handles and everything. So if you're thinking of doing it yourself, you can do it yourself with the bare minimum, okay? Couple of pieces of sandpaper, handsaw, maybe a set of wood chisels you can pick up for like €4 and Wish, whatever. And you can just, if you have the time and patience, sit down and do it. Like, I live in a house, but I have a very, very small backyard to work in. And obviously I can't work in the main part of the house because, screaming 7-month-old little daughter. It's over, and next thing you know, she's covered in sand dust. How long have you been sitting there? That has happened only once, and I've never done it again. I would never let alone with the child for a week after that.
I completely get what you're saying in terms of the hesitation. And I think the other thing that's worth pointing out is that there are sort of tutorials and stuff out there. I know that there was I've seen at least 3 SMLE tutorials of varying different, difficulties, where you use things like PVC pipe, or you use I can't remember the name of the material. Use it for like repairing car doors and stuff when they get dented. Any ideas? I don't know.
Polyfiller.
Yeah, polyfiller. Yeah. So I've seen people have done polyfiller for the stock problem that you mentioned earlier, and some of them look really good as well.
Paste.
You are?
I contemplated doing that with wood paste, but then I thought against it when I saw the cost of the wood paste. I was like, no.
Yeah.
I'll leave it. It's grand. Nobody has to look at it except me, or maybe the German and butt stroking with it. Come here, you.
One of the coolest things I've seen was someone had made for their son. I can't remember exactly what rifle it was, but essentially the front furniture all clipped on to a VSR.
Oh.
So you could just unclip it and have your VSR back to normal. And then if you wanted it to be an era-accurate weapon, it just unclipped. And then I think where the join was, they'd wrapped some Hessian around it. It was a World War II rifle, so it didn't look too out of place. And I should probably use that to say that if you come into our games, we will supply Hessian fabric for any inaccurate rifles as well.
Yeah.
So you can always do a wrap around and not feel too out of place.
Yeah, grand. Well, I mean, I look forward to, wrapping up my, L85 and Hessian and running around.
Well,
if you attempt to do that, I will mistake where my steel bayonet is.
There are limits. There are still limits.
To my steel bayonet.
I want to plug a couple of other builders as well, because we've already mentioned Dan. I know that Dan, on behalf of sort of the continental team, I've started calling it, where the French and the Russian and the Italian, Belgian sort of troops are going. He's already taking on loads of projects. He's offered to, I think his French soldier is sending over his VSR, and Dan's going to work on it and send it back, so that he's turning that into a carbine label, I think. But nice. one of the trench mods. I haven't seen them personally, but apparently, obviously, the label carbine was a post-war thing, but they were shortened in the field.
Yeah, when I was doing my label, I was looking up pictures of it, and I came across the label carbine. I was like, I could do that. And I had actually sent a picture to Dan because I was in contact with Dan over doing my label to get a couple of pointers off him, because I'd never attempted such a rifle like that. Out of all the guns I've done, including the Maxim gun, the label has been the hardest.
Yeah,
I think it's been fabricated from like scratch.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I don't know. I didn't sort of spy on the conversation too much, but I think he's basically gonna sort out the sheet metal for it and a front sight for it and stuff. And then what's that fucking Italian rifle called?
The Carcano?
No, it might be a Carcano actually. The other one.
Oh,
Veterli Vitali.
I've got a picture of it, but it doesn't have its name with it.
Send me the picture.
Oh no, it is a Carcano mod 1891.
Yeah,
the early one, the really long one.
No, it's got like a flip out bayonet, I think, or something.
Oh, that's the Carcano 1891 carbine, the cavalry carbine.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I think he's sort of one of them out.
Troops.
Oh, okay. So our Italian player, he's sorting one of them out for him as well. I think, but that's going to be fairly similar to a Lee Speed sort of job, where you have to do the mag and then sort out the iron sight for the barrel with the flip out bayonet. I don't know how he's going to do the bayonet. Hopefully rubber or something.
Yeah.
But there's loads out there. So try and get back on point again. Apologies. And obviously there's places like Vintage Airsoft, who we know as a team sort of personally. He's a really nice guy. Swit, SWIT. I don't know much about those guys.
Yes, Swit Airsoft. They are a US provider of period airsoft guns, and they have noticed a massive up-hike in sales to Europe, which increase a lot of custom charges. So, as a result, Swit Airsoft have recently announced that they should be opening up a European office, so they can ship directly from Europe to Europe, avoiding those pesky custom charges that we all know and hate.
That's
Yes.
well good. So do they have a good selection of World War One stuff as well?
A shit hot selection. A really, really
Oh,
fantastic
yeah.
selection.
I think they're the only few people I know that actually do a MP28.
Well, there was a place, a Polish not Polish manufacturer, a Polish vendor, who had started using the Snow Wolf MP28, but that sold out in I think about 3 hours.
Yeah.
I am not surprised.
I know a guy over in Sweden who got one, and he says that they're pretty fucking cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. There are plenty of tutorials online for converting Sten into a.
Oh yeah, there's a load of those.
Yeah.
The
So that's
first job I had to see was someone used a cut up M14 stock for the wood stock. And as soon as I saw it, I actually picked it up and threw it at him. It was like, you murdered an M14 and a Sten gun. Words will be had, sir. Words will be had.
And Dan's also in the process of drawing up plans to convert a Sten gun into a Hotchkiss, which I'm particularly excited for.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And he's using the muzzle. What's the term? You know what I mean? The cow.
The cow catcher.
Cow catcher.
Yes, the muzzle brake.
No, a flash redirector. That's what Ian called it. On the Saint Etienne. Yeah.
Praise be to God, Jesus.
God Jesus, yeah, praise be. Yeah, that's going to be insane. I don't know much about the Hotchkiss. I used it for the first time on a game of Verdun last night, and I was over the moon. But,
Yeah.
That's as much as I know. Speaking of Verdun, actually, I'm going to use the game Verdun to segue on to the next topic. Completely by accident, because I played it last night with a few members of the team. Kevin, I expect you to recreate a game of Verdun as the American sergeant by constantly shouting in your best JFK accent, "Hold the line! Hold the line!" over and over again.
I do that at my regular airsoft field. Standing there on the parapet, 1911 drawn, sword in the other hand, screaming it at 15-year-olds with rented M4s. And fully grown men in their €600 rig out with their €500 gun, and they're looking at me going, "What the actual fuck do?"
Because when I was playing that game, it was just constant New York accent screaming, "Hold the line!" Fucking, fuck Christ, that was in stitches. So yeah, I want to hear it. I want to hear it in the game. Hold the line.
Hold the line.
So good.
Ask not what your line can do for you. Ask what you can do for your line.
Which is
very often what saying gets brought out at parties in Sterling.
Oh,
there's an interesting segue. My missus is providing that when we go over.
Yes, true. Yeah.
What a segue. Be hard to get through.
No, cocaine.
Yeah,
or at least a handy version of it.
Yes, an airsoft safe version of cocaine. Oh man, we'll have to save that for another episode because the medical corps for the 1BB are doing some incredible stuff, and there's so much to talk about in terms of how it's going to boost the immersion. I'm really excited to go on about that. We might get your missus on to talk about that, actually.
She might do that. I will say it to her. She might be excited to do this. I definitely know she's loving just being a nurse. She got her uniform and everything, and she's over the moon.
It's going to be so good, man. I'm so excited for the first game where we get to use that.
Yeah.
So, Kevin.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the American team, why you chose that particular battalion or what have you.
I chose it because I'm Irish. I don't like Brits. I'll be
surprise.
If I accidentally shoot you in the back, Jack, it's not against you. It's your uniform.
Oh.
Which is really bad because I'm getting one of those next week.
And we all know it's very difficult to shoot yourself in the back. But God bless you.
I managed to shoot myself in the foot.
I don't know. I think if you make friends with Courtney Love, she'll teach you how.
Oh, good old Courtney.
That's another conversation for another time.
Actually,
I just wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
I mean, I I first thought about doing a World War One US impression purely because I was in the museum in Dublin, the National History Museum, the barracks, and they have an entire section dedicated to Irish soldiers who served in US regiments in the First World War, including a man by the name of Sergeant Major Daly, the only known man to win 2 Medal of Honours for the same contact.
Really?
He was a Irishman from Kerry. He was a US Marine. He went over and enlisted. I think he was actually well into his 40s by the time he enlisted with the army. And he was in France, and he won 2 Medal of Honours for the same contact. And it is quoted, and it's probably the best quote I've ever bloody heard in my life. And I've heard it quoted in movies since. But he quoted the best emotional charge ever. "Come on, you dirty apes! Do you want to live forever?" While running on top of the parapets, bayonet on the rifle, charging, German positions. Not giving 2 flying fucks for anything. So if you hear that, that's me gone over the top with a BAR at the hip, firing like a madman.
That's so good.
Stay behind me in that case.
That's a cool little...
A lot of people, I find, especially in the UK, don't know a great deal about America's involvement about the First World War. Obviously, we know that America has a wonderful habit of showing up late to the party and claiming that they won the war themselves, and so much so that there was a sketch. There was a sketch about I think Stephen Fry talked about in one of his lectures in his More Full Meter, saying that it was a British veteran and an American veteran sat in a train, and they both seen each other's medals, and the American went, "Did you fight in the war?" It's like, yes, I enlisted in the war. He was like, "Oh yeah, well, the 1718 war, it was a hell of a war, we lost a lot of good men." I was like, well, actually, for us, it was the 1914 to 1918 war. It was the Great War. You only showed up halfway through, well, right towards the fucking tail end, and pretended like you stole a victory. So, America's involvement was crucial, but also not as crucial as America makes out to be. And then if we can just post-production get the Team America theme to play, that would be grand.
Oh my god.
America.
Well,
I'm telling you, I have no American blood, so it's okay. I'm literally just doing this because it was one of those weird, outlandish loadouts that I thought, yeah, okay, I like this. I like the uniform. I like the setup. It let me segue then into doing a World War II U.S. Marines uniform. Then it's like, yes, I'll do this. And one of the first things I actually bought was the World War I U.S. Marines campaign hat, the big wide brim Stetson.
Oh, they're so cool.
So cool.
Oh, I had to. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yes, I'm having that. I went out for Halloween in my full World War One rig, minus my webbing, and it's just me. I think there's a picture of me somewhere in a bar with a pint of Guinness, very, very, very drunk, with like 4 buttons undone, just like.
I think America were a crucial, man, because was it not sort of their involvement that really put the Central Powers on the back foot in terms of, I don't know, I might be completely wrong here, so correct me if I am, but they were a case of, like a little bit longer, and we can do it, and we're grinding them down kind of thing, and then America jumped in, and it was like, oh, fuck, it's like back to square one.
Pretty much the Germans were hoping, from what I've read, World War One history wasn't really a mainstay of mine. I had World War Two now, I could probably quote everything, but World War One, as far as I'm aware, the Germans were pretty much working on the basis that if they held on a bit longer, they could sue for peace and get what they want.
Yeah.
Right.
But, then when you throw in 2 million US soldiers and their equipment into the middle of the fray, it's like, yeah, no.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
We could have stopped the French. We could have stopped the British. Be down Verdun, but fuck. Americans in the Argonne, we're screwed.
Yeah. So, exactly as you said, crucial is probably the right word. They did make a huge, huge difference. Not to mention the fact that the uniforms are absolutely amazing and look fantastic. And
barely changed since like the turn of the century. The word uniforms in the Philippines.
I don't want to, obviously I'm not trying to minimize the efforts from the British and to the expeditionary forces and France and Belgium, etc., etc. But yeah, for that reason, they're definitely a huge turning part of the war, and obviously an important part to have on our field for World War One Airsoft. That's pretty damn cool to see a good mix of uniform.
Yeah, I like the fact how it's coming together. It's a very multinational force now.
Yeah, that's going to make a huge difference. I mean, as we said on last episode where I referenced the guy who does the gunman games, where he turned around and looked at all the green helmets at a Vietnam game and said, yeah, we've actually done it. The more uniforms we have on the field, the closer I am to having that feeling.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll live up to the stereotype. We'll only come in the last 20 minutes. The two of us will be sitting there in the back of the trenches like, yeah, no, another while. We'll be there in a while. Yeah, don't worry.
Plenty of time. Don't worry.
Pop the kettle on there. We'll have a cuppa.
Just hold the line. You'll be fine. Christ.
No, we'll just come in at the end and claim we won everything. Yeah, no, we did this. It's brilliant. Yeah. Those limeys don't know how to fight, do they? Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. I'm ready to get torn apart verbally, but it'll be fine. It'll be absolutely fine. It'll be totally worth it. I'm really, really excited for it.
I'll try to be a bit, nice in my terminology when I go to describe you as I'm charging across the field.
Well, luckily, because you now have a German kit, that means you can defect and come fight for your old pal Matt.
Oh yeah, I'll have my German kit, yeah, and I'll have a British kit by the end of the week, and then I'll be getting my Belgian kit, so I'll be somewhere in the field.
Nice.
Belgian kit will be amazing.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm building a Label, I saw the Belgian kit after the link was posted in the chat for buying the Belgian kit. I saw it and I was like, I really like the look of this.
It's beautiful. It's all the good parts of a French kit mixed with all the good parts of a British kit in terms of colour and probably colour alone. But it's glorious.
Yeah, colour alone, yeah.
Yeah. And the red collar tabs, as you pointed out earlier as well, Matt.
Oh, red collar tabs.
There's a film about Belgian troops in World War One that I keep meaning to watch, and I keep forgetting what it's called. Oh, and it's really going to bother me now.
Well, they did the Young Indiana Jones TV series where young Indiana Jones is fighting. It's called Trenches of Hell, and young Indiana Jones is fighting as a Belgian second lieutenant, who then gets thrown across to a French unit.
That's it. That is actually what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it's Young Indiana Jones. It's the old 1970s TV series.
No
they
way.
get captured. They get captured by the Germans and then end up in a prison camp for officers where he tries to escape via zip lines with Russian officers. Spoilers.
What? You see, because the only clip I ever saw was sort of them having problems with being put under command of the French and not getting along. And I was like, I really need to remember what this is so I can watch it. Yeah. Young Indiana Jones. What the hell's he doing? What's he doing with?
I don't know, but there's bits where he's fighting on Lake Tanganyika in Africa against the Schutztruppe. There's lots of different Indiana Jones just fucking about.
So Trenches of Hell, was that a season then? Was it?
I think it was. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that. Trenches of Hell.
It's good. I think I've watched the majority of it. But there are points where Indiana Jones kind of like, well, excuse me, Sergeant. I don't really think that my fine, upstanding Belgian men should be fighting along these French bastards. And they're like, perhaps I noticed you don't sound particularly Belgian. It's like, oh yes, no, I am 100% Belgian, so I am. It's like, no, I'm pretty sure you sound American. Nope, definitely a Belgian. And they're like, okay, I guess you're a Belgian then.
Still though, the kits, and they're wearing the Swedish bandoliers on these pictures I'm looking at now.
Yes, well, the Swedish bandoliers and the Belgian bandoliers in the First World War are actually pretty fucking close.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a cool little tidbit.
Yeah.
Especially
I could build a
I'll just
slapdash
British one.
a slapdash Belgian uniform right now from what I have in the cupboard by using a Cold War Bulgarian winter tunic, which is that sort of brown sort of colour that the Belgians used, plus also red collar tabs and red piping, plus also Swedish bandolier. So you could make a Belgian kit actually out of nothing as long as you throw in an Adrian in the back of it.
I don't understand why the Belgian kit's not as popular as it should be in World War One Airsoft, because I mean, in my personal opinion, it's one of the best uniforms out there. It looks glorious.
Yeah,
And I know it's no top hat and coattails, but it's still
true.
That's I actually had the top hat and coattails on it. I was looking at that as well. I was like, maybe.
There's a picture somewhere of a group of Belgian soldiers, early war, coattails and top hats, and they're prone, aiming their rifles. It's
Just defeats the purpose.
yeah.
That's how that cultural stereotype started amongst the Germans. Like, Hans, have you seen the Belgians across the line? Yes, they all have very big foreheads.
Oh, Christ.
Wait, no references to me forehead.
I'm going to search desperately for that picture of those Belgian soldiers. Oh, my God. Still, though, classiest looking soldiers ever.
I actually have a Belgian World War One veterans gala tunic from the 1920s that was made in Brussels, and it's similar to the Ulan World War One German tunics with the buttons kind of going sort of double-breasted, but going like further and further out, and then buttoning along the top.
Oh yeah.
Similar to what the Red Baron wore, but it's navy blue with sort of a cream piping, and it's got the medal ribbons for a World War One veteran.
That's so cool.
Bought it for 30 quid on eBay. Somebody didn't know what it was. Just like, jacket, and I'm like, fucking geese it. I didn't even know what it was either until I did some research on it.
I found the picture. I've just posted it in the chat. If you want to check it out, it's cool guys there in their top hats. Yeah, I would like to see more Belgian guys. I mean, they still look badass even in their top hats, don't they?
Yeah.
More Belgians, more Italians, some Bulgarians.
I couldn't do Italian. Bloody spaghetti eaters.
How dare you?
The Italian uniform's really nice as well, though.
Spaghetti eaters. It's all made of pasta. As far as I'm concerned.
I think, to be fair, as soon as the uniform has an Adrian helmet, I'm sold. I think that's what the problem is. It's such a nice helmet. I'm excited to when our player gets his full Italian uniform sorted. I'm really excited to see it. I think he's getting the plume and everything as well. Nice. Yeah, that'll look incredible. Especially when he has that rifle as well.
I might speak to Dan about if he's doing some custom jobs. I might ask him if he might be able to help us out with converting that Springfield 1903 into a Gewehr 88. It just basically need a straight bolt and a wee bit of change around the furniture.
Well, when he was
straight bolt is probably the easiest thing to make.
Yeah.
Because I was actually trying to convince myself to make a Ross. Even though they're not that well used or well liked by anybody, I like the straight pull of a Ross. Yeah. I actually owned a Ross Mark III special. It was for deer hunting.
Really?
Yeah, they are fantastic hunting rifles.
Yeah, the local, my local gun dealer, like the guy that actually sells guns in my local town, is 5 minutes from where I live, and he had this 303 ex-Canadian Army Ross rifle, and I said, "What the hell is that for?" He's like, "Oh, it's for shooting deer." "How much?" €250. I was like, "Yes, please."
Wow.
Huh.
Holy crap.
It's fucking bad days when you can buy a real gun for cheaper than an airsoft gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I was so sad when I had to sell. When I moved out from my home place, I had to sell all those. I was like, fuck.
A Ross rifle would be nice to see, though, even if it was despised by the troops. Because of mud, right?
Paper rifle. That was about it.
But yeah, they're pretty, and I'd like to see the straight pull as well. That'd be cool as hell.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've covered most of the topics. The one that I'm
small segues.
You are
with small segues.
Small segues. Smaller jumps than usual. I think the one I'm really excited for is Matthew.
Top 4.
Yeah, topic number 4. Matthew's got a story for us to tell. I promised I was going to get some music ready, and I didn't, and I'm really sorry. I might, in post-production, I might add some like gentle agony aunt style music while you tell this story.
And now we're going to read a letter from our current writer, Mr. Crawford.
I'll see if I can find the music from when Alan Partridge did his agony aunt thing.
Putting Norfolk on the map.
Norfolk.
So, I live in a 2-bedroom flat and have just had my flatmate move out. My flatmate was perhaps the most insane person I've ever had to meet, let alone live with. His name was Farid Ahmed. He, on paper, is the most interesting man that you could meet. He is Egyptian by birth, was raised Muslim, spoke Arabic, and then moved to Greece. Dropped being a Muslim, became a Greek Orthodox Christian, learned Greek and English, spent his time in the Cypriot National Guard, on the Turkish border as a radio man and RPG operator, and, is gay, smokes weed, listed reggae, plays chess. All these things, sound really cool, but he's also a fucking right-wing Tory fuckhead. So when he moved in, he was basically, I thought, okay, maybe he's just got a touch of the autism.
Oh my god.
Happens. It happens.
Quite likely.
It happens, I think we all have a touch of the autism.
Yeah.
It was like autism had punched this guy right in the teeth. So he would cut about with the heating blasted at full all the time because he's from Cyprus and he's used to it. So I had a fucking conversation about that. But then he just cut about looking like a fucking tactical chimney sweep, wearing 2 pairs of joggies and like knees, so fucking camo joggies and like socks pulled up to his knees. He had no friends, like no social life, and was just a really demanding piece of shit. We had lots and lots and lots of arguments throughout the time, and then he started posting screeds on Facebook about, that are like, very anti-women, very anti-fucking everything. Like, dude's just a fucking massive edgelord with napals. Like, not a single one of these stats has got a like, and like, makes sense. So eventually, I have a fucking go at him because he started like super gluing labels to the cabinets, being like, "This is my drawer, this is my thing." I'm like, do you know what? Start super gluing shit. Like, I'll fucking super glue you to the ceiling and kick your cunt in. So, he's like, "Why don't you move out then?" I'm like, "Me move out? I've lived here for fucking 3 years. You've just shown up here like fucking a little Bashar al-Assad, trying to fucking dictate what's going on, you little tyrant." So eventually he comes through one day and goes, "Hey, I'm moving out." I'm like, fucking yes! So get a new flatmate sorted. My mate Stan comes over to sign the paperwork, and Farid was going to be leaving behind a bookcase, which is fine. I've got plenty of books, and I love interior design, so putting another bit of furniture in the living room would be grand. But then he decides that he's going to give it away on Facebook instead. But because he's got no pals, no one would fucking take it off him. So me and Stan are sat signing documents, and we see Farid come through and take my cleaver out of the knife block. Okay. Next thing we hear like smashing and crashing and fucking, hell getting raised in his room. Then he drags the fucking bookcase out into the garden. He's been hacking at it with a cleaver. So, so we're just watching him from the window, laughing at him as he's blasting death metal in the garden whilst hacking this fucking this bookcase to death. So I'm like, okay, I mean, sure. But then, because he thinks he's a little fucking Bruce Lee because he's done fucking 6 months of my time and think he can kick anyone's fucking cunt in, he starts doing like spin kicks to the bookcase. So he's like spinning this, he's like doing these spin kicks and like jumping roundhouse kicks and like judo chopping the fucking thing to bits. I get a phone call from my neighbour who lives up the stairs. She's watching from the skylight, being like, "Matthew, please fucking tell me you're seeing this mad shit as well." Hi. She goes, what the fuck's happening? I'm like, well, he's moving out. It's like, please tell me you're not going to be in the house the same day as moving out. I'm like, well, ideally not. I'm going to go and see my girlfriend, and that way I'm fucking like near him when he's fucking leaving. Very volatile man. So he smashed all that shit up, and then, you know, he steals my pillow. So I mail him at 3 in the morning because I can't get to sleep because I'm fucking.
Because you got no fucking pillow.
Well, I've got 4 pillows. I have like a bottom pillow, a top memory foam pillow, like 2 of each, right?
Right.
So he's taken away one of the top memory foam pillows. So like I'm fucking just like tossing and turning. So I'm mailing being like, are you fucking serious? Stealing my fucking pillow at 3, like, you know, mail him at 3 in the morning. Like, are you fucking serious? Going to my room and stealing my fucking pillow? How fucking petty. So, he blocks me on Facebook and then mails me back a day afterwards like, I think 0 contact from now on, please. I'm like, what the fuck? Do you think I was actually wanting to? Oh, well, that spoiled our brunch plans, you fucking daft cunt. But to top it all, the most
fucking invite from me.
The most ridiculous thing he did was he wrote me a letter.
Oh.
A letter I'd like to share with you all.
Oh god.
This letter came
Music.
halfway through him moving out, or halfway through him living with me, because he was a cleaner for a living, right? He would go and clean, you know, toilets and shops and that. So I'm a relatively clean person, but what he wanted out of me was to be, you know, so clean that given a moment's notice, I could perform a surgical operation on the worktop. So now, this is the letter that he wrote to me. I know it wounds your pride to take orders on basic cleanliness and maturity, but you are aware that dirty dishes go in the sink and clean dishes go in the cupboards, right? I will make an adult out of you, Matthew, so comply or be forced to do so. I have stockpiled dozens of images of the filth that you've created around the flat over the past year. These, along with the property inspector told me on his last visit, can and will be used against you. I need to finish it off as fucking Liam Neeson here. It is damaging to your pride and your manhood to obey, but it is best for you to do voluntarily. I'll be very sad to have to respond to any escalation. Obey or be compelled. Signed, Farid Ahmed. P.S. Who said you can't teach an old dog new tricks? What a fucking cunt! I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. But if you're looking for a clean flat, I can tell you I don't have one. But what I do have is a very particular set of skills. Skills I've learned over a long career of cleaning bathrooms in shopping malls. If you clean my flat now, that'll be the end of it. I will not pursue you. I will not look for you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will make an honest man out of you yet.
And I'll fuck up your bookcase with a cleaver and a round
And I will look for you. I will find you. And I will cleave you. So yeah, that was basically my year of living with what can only be described as like weapons grade autism.
Where's he gone? Do you know where he's gone?
He's hopefully fucking back to Egypt. So no, he's like I'm moving out. I'm like, where are you going? He's like, nearby. I'm like, all right.
Nearby.
Hopefully not within earshot, you fucking. Right.
That's so fucking scary. Nearby. Ooh.
Oh no!
He's a fucking loony.
Absolute fucking mad cunt. He's an absolute mad cunt. But like, obviously, so right now we're living in, to sound like every advertisement on every TV screen ever, we are living in strange times. But we're living in mad times with a fucking COVID-19 pandemic, that kind of thing. So obviously people are on furlough, and you know, there are people who are left without jobs, without homes, and without prosperity in their life. So the Scottish Government had recently announced that government funding to support sex workers during lockdown, because, as we all know, sex work is a valid form of work. It is the oldest profession known to man.
I thought it was plumbers.
So the government is looking to try and give some sort of bonus package to sex workers during this time. And Farid Ahmed had posted, "What the fuck? Why is this government subsidizing whores? Absolute intolerable degeneracy. The next time someone tells you the NHS or schools are underfunded, show them this." To which my girlfriend responded, "Oh, great. I had a look on the government website and can't find anything to get my subsidy. They might lump it into my universal credit, no?" But here's the caveat, because he was gay, but he loved Jordan Peterson that much that I'm sure he was like one of those like self-hating gays. Like he was a brown gay immigrant who smokes weed but also votes Tory, which is ridiculous because Tories have hated the browns, the gays, immigrants, and those who smoke weed for years.
Yeah.
So he's like definitely a self-hating kind of person. He's the only kind that I would know who would like cut around wearing whiteface. Like,
he's a masochist. He likes getting off on the pain he inflicts himself.
yes, well, here's the thing. Because when we were sort of pally, I was like, oh, you date anyone? So, and he was like, no. I'm like, okay. And I was like, well, how's, obviously you come from a Muslim country as a gay person. How do you find things in a more liberal country? He's like, well, it is good. I got to go on Grindr and, I find a guy and we, he fucks me and I go. I'm like, what? You don't even stay for a fucking reach around or a cuddle? He's like, I do not like cuddling. I'm like, fuck you. What a nutcase.
You got serious problems, mate.
Yeah, I'm concerned. The thing is, I mean, obviously, it's awful that you had to live with this guy for a year, but he's sort of loose now. Do you know what I mean? He could be anywhere at any time. I'm looking over my shoulder. I live hundreds of miles away.
Fuck, I live in the next country over. I'm looking over my shoulder.
Where is Farid? What is he doing?
Like, I swear blind. I was saying to my friend that I am absolutely positive in the next 3 years you will see me on the news at 10 being interviewed, being like, "Aye, well, all the signs were there. We had expected this. I mean, he was a dab hand with a cleaver to begin with. We knew that, but we just never expected to go this far."
Christ, it is terrifying though. It really is scary.
Yeah.
Because I assume, I mean, when you said earlier that he sort of dragged his bookcase out to the back garden and stuff like that, and you got your cleaver out of the kitchen, had he made eye contact with you as if to sort of say, "Fucking watch this. Watch what I'm about to do to this bookcase"?
I made a point of not even acknowledging his presence in the room.
Right.
Probably a smart idea. He probably would have come after you with the cleaver.
Yeah.
But I could see him in my peripheral vision because before he smashed up the bookcase, and also remarkably left a Bible in the boiler cupboard. Don't know where that came from. I don't even fucking own a Bible. He must have brought it and went, "I'll leave it here because y'all motherfuckers need Jesus."
This is coming from a Greek Orthodox Muslim.
Yeah. A true walking oxymoron. But I had like I do like a photo order, so like I'll get like my photos developed. And he loved like memory TV, like that sort of roses are red, violets are blue. In the name of Allah, I'll hit you with my shoe. That sort of like Egyptian TV thing. I'd printed them off like a fucking dumb caption of that. I was like, oh, there you go. That's just like included with the photo order, so you can have that. It was like a wee fucking daft meme, and he had it on his wall. And he came through, and he had it in his hand, and I was looking away from him because I was having a conversation with Stan, but I could feel his little piss hole in the snow eyes drilling into the side of my head. And I could see a peripheral vision of him just ripping that up while staring at me and throwing it in the bin. And I was like, I'm not even going to acknowledge that mental behaviour.
No, I'm sure he wouldn't have done that. He probably ripped it up whilst crying and simultaneously masturbating.
No, he ripped it up, stood whilst looking at me.
Like, oh, really?
4 feet from me, and threw it in the bin.
Oh, yeah, he needs help.
What a petty little shit.
I know. It's crazy.
You broke his heart, at you. You wouldn't fuck him and leave him with no cuddles.
He did say, "Hey, you're looking very pretty," and I was like, "Oh no,
please."
Away, Satan. Away with you.
Hide the cleavers.
But, someone sent him off to a Catholic reform school.
It's truly a terrifying.
You're going to have to cut that part, Jack. You got to cut that part.
Nothing
Well,
gets cut. We're not getting monetized on this podcast.
Yeah,
anytime
I mean,
soon.
everyone knows that the Catholics love two kinds of beads: prayer and anal.
Jesus Christ.
So,
Oh my God.
I mean, I'll tell you
Whatever,
this:
like
it's
that
hard to say a
English.
Hail Mary with a mouthful. But yeah, so while I admittedly was robbed of a year of my life whilst living with a potential fucking serial killer, it does make a good story.
It does make a good story. That was a beautiful story. I
Oh,
really
it was-
enjoyed it.
One of your finest. One of your finest.
That's
Yeah.
one to tell the kids, you know.
I mean, the phrase "obey or be compelled," like, I feel like he was trying to exercise me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of weird
Not
language.
the
I've
hedges.
got a picture of the letter here. I was looking at it before when you were reading it. There's loads in here that's really, really weird. Like, so comply or be forced to do so. Can and will be used against you. Very sad to have to respond to any escalation. It's really fucking... It's not even underhanded threatening, is it?
Yeah.
It's just fucking full on. Like, what's he going to do? Respond to any escalation? Presumably he's going to roundhouse kick you and then fucking cut your body up with a cleaver. Your own cleaver.
Well, the thing is, I have been dressing up as a bookcase recently, just cutting around holding a bunch of leather-bound first editions, just to try and,
right.
escalate it myself.
Ah,
But
okay.
yeah, it's just I still have the letter, and as a testament to his behaviour, it is on A4, so I'm actually going to go and buy an A4 frame.
Oh,
I will send you one in the post.
yes.
Mighty kind.
That
Mighty
is
kind of you.
that is the best part of the story. I'm so glad you're framing that.
Oh,
That is
absolutely.
absolutely fantastic.
And,
Truly.
Your next flatmate, when he comes in, you just point at that and go, "You ever send me one of those, I'll fucking kill you."
Well, no, because the thing is, I know Stan. Me and Stan are quite good pals, and we're both in the film industry. We both do a lot of like film work, and we both study the same thing. We've worked on productions together. I got him a cameo in that music video I did for Sony. He got like a really cool death scene and stuff. So yeah, I mean, we get on well, and even Stan was like, I know this dude from one of my seminars, and he's the most horrible little cunt I've ever had the chance to meet. But when he was like chatting to Fareed, trying to like make a bit of small talk about how's things been living here, he was like, Stan was like, I'm probably gonna, because it's a single bed in the room. He was like, hey, yeah, I'm probably gonna get a double bed. And he's like, why? It's like, because I have a girlfriend. He's like, oh, okay. It's like, all right.
Would you like to get shagged at some point in the near?
You know what you need to do? You need to get a video of you blasting death metal and kicking and cleaving that old single bed apart, and then and send it.
Yes.
That would be fantastic.
Completely off your rocker, just.
Yeah, make sure before you do it, you get some fucking shaving foam, so it looks like you're foaming at the mouth, so that when you send in the video, you look truly fucking rabid. And I expect this
because you left me.
I expect you to get, when you're framing that letter, you need to get one of those frames where the frame itself is like wider than the paper, so that the frame's fucking massive and gold and ornate. It's really got to be
illuminated.
beautiful.
So you press a button and it just lights up and it's like.
Yes.
Yeah,
We have
it's gotta be a
the
centerpiece.
here. For
just when you were saying like this, like this is because you left me. It reminds me of a Stephen Merchant joke, where he's like, trying to find a wife. He's like, I've dabbled with groupies. But starts off fun, but it gets very serious quite quickly. As it all descends into 3 o'clock in the morning phone calls, like, oh, call me or I'll cut myself, and they didn't need to hear that.
Can you please send us a picture of the frame, so that when you've got it framed and stuff, we can have it show up on the next episode of the podcast or whenever it's ready?
Yes,
yeah, that would be fantastic. Beautiful.
The fact that he went to the bother to sign it as well.
Oh yeah, you've got his signature forever now. There's always that.
I've got his signature, and I have, because I've transferred him money before, and I have his bank details. I have his sort code and account number and a signature. I could commit some fucking amount of fraud.
probably best not to say that on a public podcast, but
but here's the thing: the fact that I've said it now publicly means that I won't do it, which is better.
wink, wink.
Yeah, because he's already sent it all to me, so I'm about to do it. I saw something.
I'm doing it right now.
Oh yeah, here's the thing, right? So his brother, cool as fuck, really, really solid guy, kind of hipstery, fucking liked to joint, studied like computing science, decent guy, good chat, right?
So
all round. Yeah, just generally an all round a nice guy. But it was his brother's birthday, and do you know what Fareed bought for his brother for his birthday?
Something horrendous. Please tell.
Oh, it's awful. So Fareed, surprise, surprise, was a huge fan of the Joe Rogan Experience.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. Checks out.
It totally checks out. Like, dude's been fucking blackpilled to fuck. So obviously Joe Rogan has a whole bunch of like weird different sponsors. So one of the sponsors had a promo code, and this promo code Fareed took advantage of to order it from America, but eventually had to send it back because he didn't realize that custom charges were a thing. So he got charged like £100 for custom charges. Now, what he ordered for his brother's birthday was, would you care to hazard a guess?
I don't want to hazard a guess. I'm terrified.
Pardon?
A blow up Catholic priest.
Nope.
Worse?
Jack, any guesses?
No, I don't want a guess. I really, because I don't think I can fathom. I don't think my innocent mind's capable of the kind of things that goes on in Fareed's mind.
Jack, innocent? Huh?
It was a portable, modular, clip-on bidet.
What?
A bidet.
A portable piss pot.
No, a portable bidet.
Bidet? Oh shit! So a fucking ass cleaner, a portable ass cleaner.
Yeah, that clips onto your toilet. You can just put it into your toilet, and then when you flush it, fucking squirts your butt. A perfect gift for friends and family.
I mean, this is stunned silence that you're hearing.
All right, I've lost the fucking plot here. Am I still drunk from last night? Shit.
What a weird gift.
Happy birthday, brother.
Happy birthday. You've got a shitty arse.
It must be some of his requisition for like every toilet he's cleans. Like everybody needs this to clean their backside. There's no toilet paper.
But as you say, though, that guy, has loads of weird sponsors, and that's the one he picked out.
Yeah.
He picked out that one.
Aye. So there was.
Did you get to see his brother's reaction, or talk to him about it, or
No.
anything? No.
No.
I can imagine it wasn't good.
So here's another fine quote from Fareed. From sharing the article from BBC News. Scientist quits role after undermining lockdown. This is the guy who has engineered the lockdown with his fear-mongering projection of 500,000 coronavirus deaths. Then he violates the lockdown, the one that has cost me my job, my uni, my Mai Tai, in order to go screw some married women. Someone please put me in a ring with this cocksucker!
My Mai Tai! Don't you understand?
He's going to be put into his cock ring.
Put me into a cock ring with this sucker.
Oh, Christ. Oh.
Oh, God, his poor fucking Mai Tai. Oh, no. That is the biggest victim of COVID-19 I've heard of so far.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
He posted, it was like a post about, a gym shutting down. And he's like, the government will have this to answer to. How long will this go? It's like, safety should not impinge upon our freedoms. And it's like, mate. And I got a mail from a girl I know, Ailey, who was like, "Oh, do you live with Fareed? Like, I go to Muay Thai, and one time he was sparring with me, but not taking it seriously because I was a girl. So I just cold cocked him right in the face and KO'd him."
I'm quite sure my 7-month-old could cold cock him in the face and KO him.
I'm looking over his profile now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen a picture of him and like, no, man.
It's mental. I almost want to make it a segment where every episode we read out a new Fareed post. one BB Fareed posting.
There's one here where he's kicking off at the prospect of a mosque being built in London.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. He's Muslim?
Formerly Muslim. He gave up on
Muslim,
Islam.
Oppose it now while you have a chance, is what he said.
Jesus Christ. A loose cannon. He doesn't play by the rules.
Loose cannon. Oh, God almighty.
That's when it comes to cleavers and bookcases.
So, aye, that's how I've been living for a while.
Good Lord.
I feel honestly, I feel like a battered housewife.
Jesus. Wow. Well, fucking thank you very much for that.
My serious pleasure.
Almighty.
If you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel or followed us on Instagram, make like Fareed and act now while you still have a chance.
There's still a chance.
Before he comes for you.
Everybody panic.
And for those of you who don't want to subscribe, put me in the ring with these cocksuckers.
Obey or be compelled. Oh God.
There's a whole podcast in this.
There's
a whole series just in this. I almost want to do a spin-off.
I think we'll do more of these story time things.
One BB Agony Ants.
Yeah, definitely.
The Fareed edition.
I have about 30 or 40 stories of a misspent youth. Some of which involve one of which I still need to tell you this story. I'm not sure if I've told you before, but it involves an Olympic athlete who won silver at Rio de Janeiro, a bottle of fake tan, a bullet vibrator, and about a litre of poppers. It was a very strange Sunday afternoon.
We need that story as well. Definitely reserve that one. And I assure you, I've got loads to bring to the table as well. Little tease about that is 2 buildings up from the building I live in is a property reserved for crack addicts where there is not yet space available in rehabilitation. So it's a safe area for them to take drugs. So these guys.
Can I just get the address for that?
Yeah. So that's it.
Just PM me.
It's a horrible place. It recently featured in BBC News when they found one of the residents dead in their room and had been in that situation for 3 days without being checked on. So trust me, I have some belters as well from my neighbours. We'll call them. So I mean, it's one of those where I wake up around 6-7 a.m., go outside and have a cigarette, and around that time they're jovially coming back from purchasing their first hit. So it's a constant. Good stuff coming your way.
Crack's really not even a thing in Scotland. I do know a Russian girl who was like, I occasionally smoke meth. I'm like, what do you mean? What? Have you been getting meth? This is Scotland.
Yeah, apparently you can get your hands on it. It's weird, and I know one of my closer neighbours helped one of them move a table into the basement and saw some very horrifying things that no one should ever see. But I'll save it for another episode.
Juicy.
Yeah. Lovely. Good episode. We haven't got a name for this one. Obey or be compelled?
Obey or be compelled.
Obey or be compelled.
I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll agree to that one.
Again, feel free to check us out on Instagram, _battalion_boys. and uniform_collector. I'm Sunshine Jack. Kevin, you are Kevin.Carroll.first.NYYR._1BB.
You need to think of a better name.
Okay, hang on. Just to point something out. I may not be the oldest member of this group. I am definitely the oldest fucking mentally. I didn't even know Instagram was a thing until one of you mentioned it to me. Okay, I only figured out today how to use Skype and PayPal. So today's been very productive, and I am still maybe slightly fucking drunk from last night. So this is all going to be very fun tomorrow when I wake up again. Like my phone would suddenly just go bing. It's like, what the fuck is it? What the fuck's Instagram? What are these weirdos?
Oh, it's like that Adam Sandler movie, 50 First Dates, but with modern technology.
That's how I feel.
And again, if anyone has any questions or anything that they'd like us to cover in regards to World War I Airsoft, you can let us know on Instagram or you can message us on YouTube. And there's the Facebook group, World War I Airsoft UK, as well.
That's right. Ask now while you have the chance.
Ask now while you have the chance. Obey or be compelled.
Yes.
Thank you very much, boys.
NP.
It's been very good.
Lovely. Yeah, thanks for joining us. I'm gonna go and try and recover from this conversation now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and get the cleaver and see if there's any case needing seen to.
I need to go clean out my ears after hearing all that crap. Jesus. Mentally scarred for fucking life, mate.
That's how we like to do it. Lovely.
My poor young mind. No, okay. Second thoughts.
Thank you again, everyone, and bye.
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 Bye.